This is TWiT.
I am Megan Morrone, and I am talking to Doree Shafrir. She is a writer at BuzzFeed and the author of Startup, a novel that is available at bookstores everywhere where books are sold. It is a great book. I highly recommend it. So let's, you have some great pieces for BuzzFeed. It's like it's this great body of work. I feel like it would be an encyclopedia if you put everything together that you've done. One piece I wanted to talk about was last fall you wrote about attending your own digital funeral. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So this was part of an exhibit at LACMA. I live in Los Angeles, so this was at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. They have a year-long fellowship program. I believe it's for art and technology. And so they had given a fellowship to this guy, Gabriel Garcia Colombo, who had an art project called the Hereafter Institute that was... its goal was to kind of make people think about their digital afterlives. And so I went through, you were kind of walked through the exhibit with a guide from his fictional institute, and sort of put through all these exercises about your own digital afterlife and seeing what other people who had actually died, like these were real people who had died, the way their digital afterlives had been preserved. Like he had this piece of art that was scrolling tweets of someone who had died, and he had this virtual reality thing with the voices of people who had died. It was like very cool, very creepy, and definitely made me think about my own digital legacy. Yeah. Oh, and then at the end, you went to your own digital funeral where he had... ahead of time, he had taken all of your social media and kind of come up with a eulogy for you. And then, and then had a bunch of your tweets scrolling on this screen that you see here. And the effect was like very disconcerting. And it did make me think like, oh my God, like if I did die today, God forbid, like what would be out there for people to kind of piece together about me, and what conclusions would people draw? And like, is my last tweet going to be a complaint about United Airlines or something? Is that going to be your legacy? So it's weird because you don't want to, you can't kind of constantly be thinking about this. You don't want to become obsessed with your own death. But I think that there are some things that everyone can do to just sort of like make sure that things don't go off the rails when you die. For one thing, on Facebook, you can designate I forget what they call it.
I think a designator or something. It's not benefactor, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can designate a person to kind of take over your Facebook account in the event of your death, and then your account turns into if you go to the account, if you go to the profile, it'll say like remembering Doree Shafrir instead of just as if Doree Shafrir were still alive. So that's like one simple thing you can do. You can also like make sure that someone has all the passwords to your social media. And I think also just kind of, in general, it's probably not the worst idea for everyone to be just a little bit more mindful about the things that they post on social media. So it's not like every single thing I post, I think like, oh my God, what if this was my last Instagram? Like, you see those, I just always think of those horrible articles of like this hiker, the last Instagram before this hiker like fell off a cliff, and it's like, a selfie where some girl looks like super happy and tanned, and she's like, love the view. And then it's like an hour later, she fell to her death, and you do sort of think like, oh God, like, what if that was my last Instagram? But also, you're dead. What are you going to do?
Exactly. But I was so glad to read this because I often do that morbidly when you just like, what was the last thing they posted?
Totally. We all do it. It's, it's a totally natural, it's a human impulse to kind of go to someone's Facebook page or go to someone's Twitter and just be like, oh, like that. It's a reminder of our own mortality, I think. And I don't think it's like a bad thing to do, but but it is a little sobering.
Well, to think about it, I think it's good because there's that, I don't know if you watch Black Mirror, but there's that creepy Black Mirror episode where, and I think there is technology that's either being worked on or that exists that will take, all your social media posts and maybe make some, I can never pronounce that word.
Simulacrum.
Yes, that's the one of you. And so, yeah, it's creepy. But I guess one thing I think that is good, the tech industry has gotten us talking about death, which is something that is really taboo. And I would love for you or someone else to prove me wrong. But I do think that of any of the things like this, it doesn't seem to be a place that seems sexist or racist, the disruption of death.
Well, the only thing is that, there is this group of like middle-aged white guys in Silicon Valley who are trying to like live forever, which is a little creepy in my opinion.
Right. Like, yeah, that is true. Yeah. Just that kind of, that is also captured in the piece, in the passage that you read about you get the optimal amount of sleep, you're, running marathons and competing with each other and just like trying to, you didn't say this, but like spend 30 minutes in an ice bath or, all these ways that you see those people just really trying to perfect their already wonderful lives.
Yes, exactly.